When a man hurts a kind-hearted good woman, it's never really about you, it's about his own limitations. It's about his emotional immaturity, the parts of him that were never taught how to love, how to stay, or how to choose a woman with intention. A man can only meet you at the level of his emotional capacity, and if that capacity is quite limited, even the most loving woman will feel out of balance. And maybe you're a single mom carrying strength most people don't understand. Or maybe you're a hardworking independent woman who's built her life from the ground up. Or maybe you're simply a giver, someone who pours love, attention, and energy into the people that you care about. Yet somehow you keep finding yourself in one-sided relationships with men. But what I want you to understand is that his actions are a mirror of him, not a measurement of you. And once you truly understand that, you stop making his behavior personal and you start protecting your peace. My name is Ismael Gomez and I coach women like you to understand relationship dynamics and male behavior. And in this video, I would help you transform your pain, your doubts, your fears into wisdom, clarity, and the confidence to attract the love that you deserve. Okay, so let's begin. Number 1, your transformation. Maybe your first reaction was anger and frustration, but the real transformation begins exactly where you are right now. Quietly, privately, listening to a video like this because a part of you knows something inside you has shifted. And that shift didn't happen overnight. It started in the small moments, the conversations that didn't sit right, the nights that you went to sleep with a heaviness that you couldn't name, and the subtle feeling that something inside you was dimming just to keep the connection alive. You've been carrying that feeling for quite a while, and you're not listening to a coach like me because you're desperate or you're weak. You're here because you're finally paying attention to what you've been suppressing. Your transformation started with questions that you've been afraid to ask. Why did I tolerate that? What changes do I need to make? And those questions are not symptoms of insecurity, they are signs of awakening. Because deep down, you know that you invest with intention, but something keeps happening where you're not receiving what you truly deserve. And this is where your strength begins, not in pretending that you're unaffected, but in finally recognizing the small ways that you've been abandoning yourself to keep someone else comfortable. The change you're feeling right now is not you becoming harder, it's you becoming honest with yourself. It's the moment you stop romanticizing potential and you start acknowledging patterns. It's when you feel the emotional fatigue of excusing a man for his lack of appreciation. And if you're listening to this, it's because you already know that the way you've been living emotionally is no longer sustainable. There's a new version of you forming, slowly with more self-respect, more discernment, and more truth than ever before. You're not breaking, you're shifting. And that shift is the start of everything you've been needing. And you know, ladies, I've also realized something that I think is better for all of you to hear this from someone who was once exactly where you are today, instead of just hearing it from me. So let me show you what one of my clients, Anna, shared about her journey and experience.
He was a good guy. He had a good heart, but he was very unhealthy, jealous, insecure, didn't want to commit, but keeping me there, probably taking me for granted. I was giving him too much without the title or anything. Me going into this program, I was iffy about it. I didn't know if it was going to work. And then now that 6 months later that I'm out, I'm like, I'm really glad I joined, because I was probably going to be stuck talking to the other guys still, or still getting guys or attracting guys that were going to be in the same position as that. So I don't even know how to say how happy and excited I am for this next chapter with my new man. And not to say anything too soon, but this is definitely a man that I would marry.
Beautiful, beautiful, Anna. Thank you so much for this.
You're welcome.
Number 2, wounded love. A wounded love is always overanalyzing the other person. You know, it becomes a habit that you don't even notice. Constantly scanning for meaning, tone, and intention. You catch yourself constantly thinking, how does he see me? You know, what did he mean by that? Did I do something wrong? And before you know it, your energy is no longer centered in your own body. It's orbiting around his reactions. This is what wounded love does. It turns connection into a puzzle that you're always trying to solve, instead of an experience that you meant to feel and the natural flow of two people meeting each other honestly. You know, I can tell you that before I met my partner, I was in a constant state of emotional calculation, trying to predict everything before it happened, trying to read women's reactions, trying to say the right thing, trying to be whatever version of myself will be the most high value, because Women want a high value man, and all that silliness, but that is never connection. It is self-protection disguised as intelligence or maturity. It happens because somewhere in your past, you learned that love was unpredictable, that it could be withdrawn or taken away without warning. So now your heart is always trying to stay ahead of disappointment. But the thing is that overanalyzing someone else always means that you stopped listening to yourself. You become hyper aware what another person is doing and gradually lose awareness of what you're feeling. But this is the turning point. The thing that you start to understand once you finally get tired of debating every single relationship in your head, every single dating experience, and that is that healthy love starts asking a different set of questions. Like, do I feel good around him? Do I feel safe expressing myself? Does this connection support who I'm becoming? And these questions bring you back to yourself. They shift the focus from trying to manage someone else to finally noticing your own emotional truth. When a woman heals, her energy stops chasing clarity from a man and starts providing clarity for herself. And listen, a big part of the work I do is helping you decode male behavior. Why men pull back, how to attract authentic love with him, and that clarity matters. It gives you language for things that you felt before and you couldn't explain. But the truth is that the most important step is not the information itself, it's what you do with that information. It's like having the best GPS in the world. But if you don't know where you're going, or you let someone else take the wheel, you're going to end up lost or driving in circles. And final, number 3, gratitude for the pain. Here is one of my most popular quotes that I want you to think about. Thank the men who disappointed you. Only they can teach you to raise your standards. I know this sounds strange at first, maybe even self-destructive, because no one wants to feel grateful for pain. Most of us don't want to look at heartbreak and disappointment and see it as a gift. But when you loved someone honestly and they mishandled that love, you don't just walk away wounded. You walk away transformed. Because a man who hurt you just didn't disappoint you, he educated you. That's why the version of you that emerges afterward is someone that he'll never have access to again. He created a wiser version of you, a more discerning version, and ironically, that version is not his to benefit from. Another man will one day experience the softness that he took for granted, and that is the consequence that most men never see coming. So ask yourself, how much is your affection worth? Your loyalty, your presence, and if you don't value yourself, don't expect anyone else to do it. So yes, you can thank the men who hurt you. And it's not easy, okay? I'm not saying that it is. I can tell you from my own experience, like I've had a lot of women in the past who manipulated me, did a lot of nasty things to me. And I'm thankful for all of those experiences because now I know what healthy feels and looks like. So again, it's not because they deserved your love, it's because they taught you how to protect it. They lifted your standards to the level they should have been all along. And they pushed you into becoming the woman that you were always meant to become. And understand that gratitude for the pain doesn't mean that the pain was fair. It means that you grew beyond it, and he probably stayed exactly the same. But like I always tell you, don't focus on these men, don't focus on what's happening with them, don't focus on, worrying about someone else's house falling apart. Focus on building your own castle. Alright ladies, that is all for today, and if you found this video insightful, here's what you can do next. Go back to the home page on my channel and type the word detachment and watch all the videos on that topic. Those are some of the ones that I see most of you enjoy, so go check them out. Anyways, thank you for subscribing to my channel, and remember that for your relationships to change, you need to change, okay? Have a beautiful day.